Roy Pittman's journey from Monroe, Louisiana to Portland, Oregon is a tale of dedication, leadership, and significant contributions to the city's African-American history and youth development. Born in 1943, Roy moved to Portland at the age of 4, starting a new chapter in an unfamiliar city. A passionate advocate for youth empowerment, Roy founded the Peninsula Wrestling Club in 1970, using the sport as a platform to teach life skills, discipline, and resilience. His coaching philosophy centered around doing the right thing.
My name is Roy Pittman. I was born in Monroe, Louisiana, 1943. My mom and my brother, we came to Portland. I was 4 years old, and we came here with my grandfather and grandmother. They were here, and my 2 sisters. They were in the Vanport flood, and it had just happened, but we wanted a better life. My parents wanted a better life for all of us, so we came out right after the flood, and we lived on Northeast Gleason, 28th and Gleason, just right down the street. And that was a home for a lot of people that came from the South that didn't have a place to go. They'd go there and they'd stay until they get themselves set. I went to Kearns Elementary School, which is right over across the street, and Girls Polytechnic was right next to that. And after I went to Kearns, I went to Buckman Elementary School, or junior high school. Then we moved to Southeast Portland, Southeast 10th and Sherman, and I went to Abernathy. And in all these schools, there weren't hardly any people of color. So we got an education. We went there not to make friends, but to learn. And that was the key. And that's what my mom would always say, I put you here to learn. So I wasn't a straight A student, but I was a learning student, and we all were. Then, after I graduated from Abernathy, we went to Washington High School. And I lived in Southeast Portland, and most of the kids, the African-American kids, lived in North Portland. So they would come over to Washington. And I'd never been around that many African-American kids in my life. So I had to make a choice of what do I want to do. And my parents have always told me to believe in yourself. It's about you. It's not about others. So I went about doing that. Went out for sports, wrestling in particular. And that was a heck of an experience because it taught me more about myself, how far you can really push yourself. And so I said, wow. Played baseball. Baseball was fun, but there was, at that time, so much politics involved in ball. I didn't know how to play politics, but I did know how to wrestle. So that was why wrestling was the key. 1965, I went into the service. That was the start of the Vietnam War. I got married for a little while. Thought I'd beat the draft, but I didn't. And then when I went into the service, they had spinal meningitis at Fort Ord. And there was no one going there. And so we went to basic at Fort Leonard Wood, Missouri. That was an experience. Back then, the blacks had to go, they couldn't go certain places. So you had to stay in certain areas, but that was okay. But then when I left my basic training there at Fort Leonard Wood, I had to go to Fort Ord. And I was really scared because they didn't know what caused the spinal meningitis. So we were the first group to go back in there when they let people in. And I went there, and my MOS was I was a supply clerk. Then I got orders to go to Vietnam. But then I was scared and wrote some letters, and then they changed my orders to go to Korea. So I went to Korea for, 15 months. And I spent my 2 years in the service. Then I got out. I learned a lot in the service, because back in the 60s, they were just integrating. And I'd never been around that much racism and prejudice and hate. But I still kept my identity of who I was. And that was the main thing. And I got out, and I didn't have very many bad habits, because most of the time you'd come out and you'd be an alcoholic or you'd be a dope addict or something like that. I still kept who I was. Went to school, got jobs. I didn't find a job that I liked until I became a recreation specialist. And once I became a recreation specialist, I was one of the few black recreation people. My first job was at Matt Dishman. I was at Matt Dishman and stayed there for about a couple of months. And they said, well, we're going to put you up at Peninsula. And this was in 1970, 69, 70. And they put me at Peninsula. And I was one of the first people of color at Peninsula. Peninsula was a white park, but they wanted to integrate it. So I went there, and it was tough. The houses right across the street, some of them, they wouldn't let black people in. But I had to provide programming for everyone in the community. So that's what I kept my focus on. How could I do that? And then I saw there was a big void for kids. And I said, well, what programs could I do to help all kids? Football, you have to be big. Basketball, you got to be tall. Baseball, you have to have great hand and eye coordination. And most kids weren't developed to have all those skills yet. But in wrestling, you just had to have mental toughness. So I said, I think I'll choose wrestling. And also, wrestling's a sport where the two most traumatic things in a person's life is being picked last and getting cut. So I said, in wrestling, you don't cut anyone. Everyone participates. So I chose wrestling because of those two main features. But then it was hard breaking it into the black community, because people thought people of color, all they could do was play football, basketball, baseball. And I said, no, you can do more. So in 1970, we started that Peninsula Wrestling Club. And I started it with 5 Boy Cub Scouts, because the Cub Scouts had the idea of what I wanted to build in character, discipline, and dedication, and all these other traits. And unlike all other things, I says, hey, anyone can wrestle. So we had to redefine words. We redefined success. We redefined winning. We redefined all these words. But what was missing was the kids needed a role model. And I took upon myself at that time to say, okay, I will be a role model for all. And I started out that way. And in being that role model, you had to have consistency. consistency. I had to cut out a lot of stuff. And what I mean by cut out a lot of stuff, I haven't been to a club yet since 1970. Because how would it look like if I'm at a club and the kids see me at a club and I'm telling them they can't go to a club? Or I got to get up at 5 in the morning and I get up and I can barely get up because I'm tired. So the best way to be successful is to take your own advice. So I took my own advice and sacrificed that. And we learned, people heard about the club because we were always there. I have one rule at Peninsula. Many clubs or many programs have all these different rules. I've got one rule that has lasted all this time. And that rule is do the right thing. That's all. Just do the right thing. And it's left up to me to find out, is that the right thing to do for the behavior that you had? And it's how do you get kids? Kids want to play together. Kids love structure. Kids love all these different things, but they never have the opportunity because people are always telling them to stop. You can't do this. Stop. You're too rough. Stop. But in wrestling, hey, you can be as rough as you want. Then I added more to it. I says, we're going to teach you how to lose. Then we're going to teach you how to win. And then we're going to teach you how to be a gentleman. And losing is not losing a match. Losing is just not putting out what you'd have to put out to be successful. That's all. So you can win a match by losing a match if you just put out the effort. It's all about output, not outcome. And I told kids, hey, I am here for you, period. During that time, we had some success. Well, we had a lot of success. And these kids, I said, I'll take you as far as you want to go. So we had kids who said, hey, I want to go to the Olympics. I said, fine, we can do that. So they had to go to the Olympics, so I had to become an official, a wrestling official, because there wasn't that many, and still isn't that many black officials now. And believe it or not, our kids don't get a fair shake. And I wanted them to see a person of color who was out there, who knew what they were going through, to help them, especially on that big stage. So I became an official. And I'm still an official. I got up to being a FILA, which is one of the head officials in the world. I became a 2. And before I could become a 1, my age stopped me. They put an age limit on it. And I said, that's fine. Then they had credentials for becoming a coach. Gold coach, a silver coach, a copper coach. At the time I became a gold coach, there was only 12 of us in the world. So I said, hey, to show kids, you can do anything you want to do. But on this path, you've got to go it alone. And there will be what other people call obstacles, you call stepping stones. And that's what we did. And we went on and we kept on going. And I worked with other programs, like I worked with mental health. I worked with trauma and all these things, and letting kids know the reality that bad things are going to happen to you. Things are going to happen, and you got to deal with it. You got to handle it. You don't have to go to a bottle. You don't have to go to drugs. You don't have to do any of that stuff. I remember, kids are smart. When bad things happened to me, they watched to see how I dealt with it. Back in 1979, one of my daughters passed away. I have 2 daughters. They were swinging on a swing set at Unthink Park, and we told the city, hey, this thing is dangerous. You need to get it fixed. And of course we got, yeah, we'll get it fixed, it's okay. But one Sunday, my daughters were on there, they were swinging, and the swing set fell. One of my daughters went straight ahead, the other one went out to the side, and the one that went straight ahead, the swing set fell on her head and decapitated her head. So at that time, it sounds gruesome, but that was the best of times. Because when I was there, I had to think about not what I'd lost, but what I had left. And what I had left was my other daughter. And that's what I focused in on as opposed to the tragedy. And the kids saw this, how I went through this. Yes, it's hard. But once again, it's not what you've lost, but what you have left. So I talk to kids about stuff like that, and I really impart upon, especially these young black kids, that it's not what people call you, but what you answer to. Because words mean nothing until we give them meaning. So you don't have to answer to all that stuff. So they saw how I was living my life. And that really helped them live their lives. I was the father of many, still am the father of many boys. There's over a couple 100,000 people that have gone through the program. I'm in fourth, fifth generation of kids, of people bringing their kids back to the program because of what they got in the program. Olympics. In 1984 Olympics, I was the Olympic coach for Colombia. It was a great experience. I was over there working with the athletes, but they don't want you working with everyone. They just want you working with your athlete. And that's not what I'm about. This belongs to everyone, everywhere. So they didn't like that. And a lot of kids don't know how to handle that. But we got through it. We came back. And all these medals and awards and stuff, that's someone else's opinion of you. It may not be your opinion of yourself. So it means nothing to me. I give those awards away. It's what I have inside. It's what are you going to do next? And I have found stress kills more people than anything. And all stress is ego and control. They want to control other situations. I can only control me and what I do. Like I tell kids, I can't make you change. You've got to want to change. So I put it in such a way that they want to change. And many of the kids, they come in from all over. When I say all means all. And they come in from all over the state to North Portland, where there's gangs and all this negative behavior they think until they get there. And once they get there, they see that all they have to do is, the door to success is mark push. Just push on the door. They come in, and I just require one thing, look me in the eye and shake my hand. That's all. Whether you're a boy or whatever, just shake my hand. And then when you leave, I give you an apple or a piece of fruit. Then you shake my hand and you leave. So everyone leaves with something. A lot of kids will come to you, they start the program, but then they try it and then they always want to quit and go somewhere else. But I have been there for 54 years. And they'll go and they'll come back and they'll say, Coach Pittman, you still here? Yes, I told you I'd be here. I am here for you. And it's the kids. Parents are the main culprits. Because they think when their kids get 17 or 18, they don't have to parent anymore. Once you're a parent for the rest of your life. And you got to keep on parenting. But they don't, because parenting takes energy. And when they see that I'm still there, I give them an experience that they'll never forget. My love is unconditional. I judge no one. Period. And they see that, and they say, hey, you are? Yes, I am. And now with third and fourth generation coming up, they want their kids to have some of the things that they had, the opportunity. The club has been successful because it's always changing. It's not stagnant. The club is always open to everyone. Race, color, creed, it doesn't matter. And what it really is, it's a club. White boys come to the club and get more out of it than anyone. Because many of them have never been around a black person. Many of them have never been led by a black person. I don't know how to listen to a black person. And then when they see the content, as Martin Luther King said, the content of my character, not the color of my skin, then that changed their whole perspective. You can't talk about a black man on TV now when your coach is black. So this is why it's so important. And these kids, they come from all different areas, and what I do is I treat everyone the same, differently. Because one of the things is all these kids have got to go home, and they've got to survive in the environment that they come from. Period. And I give them skills to survive in whatever environment that they come from. But when they come back to Peninsula, these are the rules here. Do the right thing. What brings me most joy is putting smiles on kids' faces when they finally see, I got it. And what I do is I give everyone a new friend. And that friend is PAT. And PAT is the acronyms of pain, agony, and torture, with a positive attitude today. To get anything in life, you have to work hard at it. You got to go through pain, agony, and torture. Then you find out it's okay. And you get all through it on the other side, and you become a much better person. So that's what I could just I get the smile on their face, or a kid just says, Coach, I got it. So I got it. And I believe. There's no stronger thing than to believe in something and be willing to put forth all the effort. Because the emphasis at Peninsula is not on winning, but it's on the output. That's how much you put into it. That's all. I have a young lady named Kelsey Campbell. She started in my program. She made the Olympics twice. And she just called me the other day that she'd moved back to Portland and she wants to give back to the kids at Peninsula some of the things that she got. That gives me joy because it's not about money. It's, if we all would listen, back in the 60s and the 70s and the 80s, all these artists, they told us how it was. Marvin Gaye, What's Going On? James Brown, Black and Proud. All these songs, they told you what drugs was about. They told you what marriage was about. They told you all that. But we didn't listen. We thought we were exempt. And we find out that we're not. And Peninsula is a program where I think most programs teach kids how to beg. Peninsula, we don't beg for nothing because we've got what everybody wants, youth and opportunity and a belief in self. That's all. And so that's all you need. You got to believe. Whatever your spiritual belief is one thing, but really believe in yourself because you are part of this. and all these things that you think you want, as Donny Hathaway say, material things don't mean nothing. And the biggest problem now is kids don't think they're going to get old. So they live all their life thinking to old to them is 35 and 40. So they just speed up their life. The next thing you know, then they're broken down. And they're 50 and 60, and they don't know how to recover. And we talk about mental illness and all this other stuff. It's all out there. Where I would like to see Peninsula Wrestling Club, and we're going that way now, is I'm getting a mental health component. Everyone needs mental health. Everyone has gone through something that they haven't had a chance to work through. Like the best thing you can ask a kid or a person is, what happened to you? And if they really think about it, something happened to them between the ages of maybe 5 and 10 years old that they've never had to go through. And once you get them thinking like that and start healing that wound, then you can go on. But we never heal. We never heal. And that's one of the things that I want these young people to do, is to heal. We live in a country where everyone thinks more is better. And if you think more is better, you will never be satisfied. These kids tell me I'm tired. I'm not tired. I don't get tired. Tired is a state of mind. We've got to pass this on. Now you get tired because, well, you got no. You go until completion. The best word that you could hear is done. It's done. And that's what I do. I sleep 4 hours a night. Then I'm up and at them. Because I don't try to control anything. I let people be who they are. I don't argue. Like if I ask you a question, what makes you mad? What would you say? What makes you mad? What makes you angry? So what would you say that makes you angry? If you could say anything. Nothing makes me angry, because anger is a choice. And I choose not to get angry because I choose not to control. And also, anger is one letter away from danger. The reason not controlling someone else helps me be successful, because the only one you can control is you. Period. They got all this stuff, all these radio shows and talk shows and TV shows they all talk after the fact. But the only one that you can control is you, and how you're going to handle a situation. And you'll handle it according to your perception and your awareness. Period. So it doesn't make you wrong. It just makes your perception, your awareness. And the first thing we tell a kid is, you're wrong. And the moment you tell a kid he's wrong, they stop listening to you. But all you had to say is, you're right, but here's another way. And then they're more apt to listen to you. Or give them definitions on words. We've got all these gang shootings, and all these gang shootings is about respect. And it's what their definition of respect is. You disrespected me. And no one can disrespect you without your permission. No one. It's just that simple. So you give them definitions of things. Give them the art of learning. The definition of listening is the art of being interrupted. And then you explain to them, they say, well, what do you mean by the art of being interrupted? When you're speaking and the other person starts to speak, you shut up. Because if two people are speaking, who's listening? Or the art of letting someone change you. That's what we don't have today. Is there just a clear understanding, and all these skills can be given to kids at an early age. So they learn how to do this stuff and stop grading them. At Peninsula, we're like a big eraser where we erase all those labels that society has put on them. And every person is welcome. Everyone is welcome there. When we have kids from 5 years old to adults who are 45 and 50. Then they come in and they work together, all being led by one man. A lot of our young people don't understand that this is their country too. This is my country. These are my people. All means all. Period. And I thank you for the opportunity. And be ready for an opportunity, because opportunity knocks softly. It doesn't knock loud, it knocks softly. And you've got to have a clear head and clear ears so you can hear it knocking. And don't be afraid. Don't be afraid to go it alone. That's what kills more. Fear kills more people than death. And our young people are afraid to be successful because people don't think they ought to be successful. Once you are labeled as a smart person, you can't be dumb again. So responsibility goes along with that. So what do kids say? I don't want that responsibility. And I say, why not? And all it is getting these young people in a different place. And all they need to know is three things. Who's in charge, who has the power, and the rules of the game. If they learn those three things and how to apply it in every situation, they will be successful. This one here, this is what society thinks of young African American kids. And the caption you see is two little black kids sitting on a porch with the caption of, what do you want to be if you grow up? And I always think of that, if you grow up, because they're killing them left and right. This one, this is a picture of my family. People of color aren't supposed to have a family. They're not supposed to have roots. This was taken when we came from Louisiana. And we all grew up. We all had an opportunity. One of the things that we do that I think we need to change is we always put ex-felons and gang members and stuff in the front of kids. And kids think they can do it because they think they can change. But change is hard. What we need to put in the front of them is people that live in the same environment that made different choices. To let them know how hard it is to keep making those choices. So that's what I do consistently. My grandmother, my mother, my dad, my aunt, and my sisters, they're all gone. But they still live on, and what they taught me. That's all it is, family is. Family not of blood, but family of choice. Because you have to redefine family every place you go. What I would like people to know about Roy Pittman is because I'm writing my epitaph now. He was used up. Use me up while I'm here. That's all. The idea is not that you can physically touch the window, but the idea that you have it in your mind and you try.
because we have people, once they trust the process, can go up the wall and touch the window. And you can't do it too. You've got to get rid of all those obstacles. I call them scotomas. Scotomas are mind blocks. Get rid of those mind blocks that you can do anything you want. That's all that is. Austin Lister, he runs right along like a little monkey. Jacob Mitchell, he weighs 280 pounds and he touches the window. So you can do it. You can do it. But once again, get rid of those, that's the word for you, scotomas. So now I want everyone to repeat after me. As loud as you can. I will be better. I will be better. Because I am better. Because I am the best. I am the best. All day, all night, all week, all month, all year, all way. That's what you have to have. You got to remember that, especially in tough situations. Maria, you got to be in there. Yep. All those who want to go to the takedown tournament, go weigh in and register with Maria. Okay? The scales are in there, she'll write your name down. And if you register now, it's $25. If you register at the door, it's $40. So what would you rather do? It's up to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear cousin Pittman. Happy birthday to you. They got the first 80. You're going to get the next 80.
On the plains of hesitation lies the bones of countless millions who at the dawn of victory sat down to rest and in resting died.
Thanks for tuning in to Oregon Hidden Legacy. For more information about this podcast, go to OregonHiddenLegacy.org.